Well, good evening and welcome to the West Ham Daily. Thank you all for joining me on a Wednesday evening. Just before the preview that Anton's going to do, etc., about the Zagreb game, I thought I'd sort of have a little bit of an update about our defender situation, and we talked an awful lot about it. Did it on the Monday night show. Russ did something about it yesterday, etc. But we kind of hear today, like we heard the other day that Kurt Zuma is out with a hamstring tendon injury. But the interesting thing is, as much as we all speculated that he might be out till around April time, one thing that the club hasn't done is that they haven't actually stated what kind of tear, what kind of level grade the injury is. Because if it's like a grade one, grade two, it could only be like he might be out for maybe 6 weeks rather than the whole sort of 3 or 4 months. So it all sort of dependent on that. And we're kind of, I don't think West Ham United are really going to give much more away than saying Kurt Zuma's injured. They can't get away with actually saying anything less than that. But the actual level of the injury is yet to be determined, or is being kept under wraps. Let's put it that way. Not yet to be determined. They clearly know how bad it is, but it's kind of kept under wraps. So David Moyes, in his press statement today, and I think Anton alluded to it earlier in the Moyes presser show. He said, well, now it looks like defenders a priority, and does that mean it's going to impact on us getting a striker in? I don't think it does, to be quite honest with you. I think it might change our emphasis on what we do with what type of defender we get. I think I might have said on the Monday night show that with Ogbonna out, Moyes still at that time had the option of Zuma, Diop, and Dawson, and maybe looking at perhaps bringing in one of the youngsters to maybe be the fourth choice centre back. But of course, with Zuma being out as well now, things are quite different. Things have kind of changed quite in perspective. With Zuma out as well as with Ogbonna, Moyes has now got to sort of change his approach. So we will get a central defender in. I think there's absolutely no doubt about that. But whether we get a central defender in and buy one, or whether we get one in on loan to see us through for the rest of the season, I really don't know. Now, is there speculation that we might get two central defenders in? Again, I don't. I'm actually not sure. I don't think so. I think what David Moyes is going to do, as I keep saying, I've been saying for quite some time, we've now got an option now to see how Dawson and Diop get on over the next 3 weeks. There are one or two youngsters that we're going to probably see quite a bit of in the game against Zagreb on Thursday night that could stake a place as the fourth choice. And then that might determine Moyes' thinking into saying, right, I only need one more defender in order to give me adequate cover. But who have we got? And there's so many options available. I mean, people keep talking about a variety of different players that we're going after. Nathan Ake has been in the news quite considerable amount of time. James Tarkowski, as we all know, this time, last season, with a £30 million bid for him, etc., that Burnley turned down. Nicholas Stark from Hertha Berlin is a more recent link to us. And of course, Dush Kaletakar or Dush Seletakar, however you want to pronounce it, let's call him Kaletakar, is also another player that has been linked to us for quite a considerable amount of time. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to look into a little bit further into those players. But before I do, let's just mention one or two others that I'm not going to touch on today. There's talk about Nathaniel Phillips. We know he's a centre back at Liverpool, contracted to till 2025. Round about £10 million value, 10 to £15 million, 24 years of age. A lot of people say he's a decent player. We know he's got Premier League experiences for Liverpool, especially when he played against us. Good positional sense, highly rated, recently signed his extended contract. Half decent stats, averaging 1.4 tackles per game, an interception per game, 4 clearances, 82% pass success rate. And as we know, he's got Premier League experience. But I'm discounting him. I just don't think Moyes is going to favour. I don't know why. I have it in my head that if it's going to look for a central defender, Now, ironically, Phillips might be one that could come in on loan, but I just think Moyes is going to look for just a little bit more experience. Let's also get out of the way our two youngsters, because as much as we've been talking about them, and when we think they're absolutely superb, obviously. Moyes is going to, if Moyes sees something in them, especially in one of these guys tomorrow night, yes, I think he might turn around to him and say, for the rest of the season, you're our fourth choice backup. So Jamal Baptiste, first of all, signed his professional contract with West Ham in 2020. From everything that we've heard about him, everything that we've seen, calm and composed, reads the game well, considered with great awareness for such a young age. He made his under 23s debut for West Ham at the age of 15. He made his senior debut, I think, in the cup competitions last year. There we go, FA Cup against Doncaster. Under 18s appearances, he's had 30 for them, 45 for the under 23s. And he's been in the senior squad 10 times with one appearance. And England squad level, under 16 to under 19s. So I think, I know Anton was talking about, who might be starting tomorrow night. And I'm sure they're going to talk an awful lot more about that in the preview show later on tonight. But Baptiste, as I said before, Moyes has talked about this young player, and I want him to be around the first team squad, etc., etc. And so he might get an opportunity tomorrow to demonstrate what he's capable of doing. And then the other one is our under 23s captain, and another central defender, signed his professional contract last year as well. A couple of years older than Baptiste, central defender, can play left back, strong central defender, great leadership skills. He's had some modest experience out on loan. He's a strong defender. And as people will allude to, he scored a fantastic goal for the under 23s the other day, where he took the ball out from the back of the defence and just literally glided his way through, beat off several challenges in order to slot home beautifully. And I think we're going to see Alese get his chance as well tomorrow. Now, will both of them get to play? I forgot to think, when Anton was chatting in the show earlier today, it could be. I thought in my head, oh, maybe we'll get Emmanuel Longello to play at left back, but Alese can play left back. So who's to say that maybe Baptiste might not start in the middle of the park with Diop? Can't see. I don't know why Moyes is going to risk, but he might do. Play Diop a centre back with Baptiste. Maybe play Alese at left back with maybe Soufal at right back. Have a little bit of mixture. Moyes has said he's going to mix around, the seniors with the young players. And Moyes also said, not all the young players might get a look out or whatever. But I just think this is his great opportunity to sort of look at the back and go, what options do I have available? Alese, great, strong, 20 years of age, can play left back as well as centre back. Will he get an opportunity? Maybe that might be enough. And then Moyes dips into the transfer market to bring another central defender in. We don't know. But I really wish any youngster that plays tomorrow, that comes on, whatever amount of game time they get, I hope that stadium's full tomorrow night against Zagreb. And I hope they really cheer the youngsters on, however many of them play, whether they start the game, bring them on halfway through, whatever it may be. I hope we cheer them on. I hope they get a feel for what it's going to be like playing in front of the West Ham crowd. And because who knows, we might need them moving on into the second half of the season. But look, let's just focus on the transfers for now. They're as great options as they may be. Let's focus on the transfers. So I've kind of discluded Phillips for now, although people might like him. But what I'm going to focus on is the four centre halves that we keep being linked to time and time and time again. Nathan Ake, James Tarkowski, Nicholas Stark, and Duj Kaletakar. But first, before I do that, let's look at the West Ham summary so far of our four central defenders. I don't know if you can read that. I hope it's not too small for you. So we've had Ogbonna, Zuma, Dawson, and Diop playing a variety of games so far this season. Now, the best out of those four is clearly Kurt Zuma. Zuma, he's played the most number of minutes with Ogbonna just behind him, and then Dawson, and then Diop at the end. Now, a lot of people might turn around and argue Diop should actually have more of an opportunity, and this might be Diop's chance. A lot of people seem to overlook Diop and sort of talk about, oh, we need two central defenders in. We need to get a whole bunch of new defenders in. Diop, for me, I think has been quite a decent player for West Ham United this season when called upon. 24 years of age, Diop. Look at that pass success rate, 94% pass success rate. Let's go a little bit further into their defensive stats. You look at the comparison. So far, when Ogbonna was playing, 0.6% averaging number of tackles, the same as Zuma. Just behind them was Dawson, but Diop stands out the most. Interceptions, all averaging about one, with Zuma being just slightly ahead alongside Dawson with 1.2 interceptions, but Diop on average the same number of interceptions as Ogbonna. Clearances 2.4 for Ogbonna, 5.2. Look at that number of clearances, 5.2. Dawson 3.4. Diop is a little bit way back from all of them. And then number of blocks, averaging for Ogbonna 0.4, 0.9 for Zuma, 1.1 for Dawson, but 2 clearances for Diop. So you know what? He's stood his ground. I think he's done okay. And I think a lot of us were sort of asking, what's he going to be like if he plays alongside Zuma? Unfortunately, we're not going to see that now for quite some time. But I think this is Diop's chance. I think Diop has been decent. And for me, in comparison to the two players, if you compare Diop and Dawson, I think Diop has been just marginal. I mean, overall, Dawson has been marginally better, but I think Diop stands his ground. But we'll see what people say in the chat later on. So that's the summary of the players that we've had so far. So who am I going to focus on? Well, I'm going to focus on Nicholas Stark, Hertha Berlin centre-back, contracted till 2022, valued at around about £9 million, 26 years of age. 6'2" tall central defender, good defender, defensive awareness, good ball distribution, averages 1 tackle per game, 1.6 interceptions, 6.1 clearances, 2.4 aerial challenges, and a decent pass success rate of 84%. Bundesliga and German international experience. Nathan Ake, going to focus on him as well. I think that's an Old Man City badge, so do forgive me for that. 5'4", 5'11". He's the shortest of all the central defenders I'm going to focus on. Versatile in defence, he can play left back as well as centre back. Good passing range, good work ethic, technically gifted, averaging stats, 0.9 tackles, 1 interception, 1.8 clearances, and again a decent pass success rate of 87%. Premier League and international experience, as we know, and a Dutch international. Duj Kaleta 6 foot tall. He's a man mountain, 6 foot tall. Contracted to Marseille till 2023. Average guideline value of £16 million, 25 years of age. Averaging stats per game, 1 tackle, 1 interception, 2 clearances. Deep, very, very decent 91 pass success rate. Aerially strong, good with his feet, skillful and confident on the ball. People say he's built for the English game. Good old-fashioned defender with modern-day technique is how he's been described. League One experience, Croatian international as well. Let me go back to Ake because I didn't talk about his value. Contracted till 2025 at Man City, valued at £30 million, 26 years of age. James Tarkowski, 6'1" tall, contracted, as we all know, to Burnley till 2022. Averaging value, well, it depends on what newspaper you read, etc. People say that we might be able to get him for around about £9-10 million. He's the oldest of all the players, of all the central defenders that we're focusing on. Plays the long ball, good at set pieces, good tackler, and bit of a no-nonsense defender. Averaging stats, 1.4, 1 tackles, 1.6 interceptions, 5.1 clearances, and 71% pass success rate. Not his most greatest of attributes, his passing success. But we line them up against each other, and how do they look? Well, interestingly, the summary stats would suggest that Tarkowski is a bit head and shoulders above all the others. He's got a better number of assists. He's got goals, assists, but great. But what about his defensive skills compared to the others? Well, defensively, you can see here, he still stands out amongst the others. Number of blocks on average compared to all the others is a lot higher. Number of clearances is close to Nicholas Stark's at 5.2, whereas Tarkovsky's is 5.1. So you can see number of interceptions is very close to Nicholas Stark as well, 1.8 over 1.7. So he stands out above the others. But if you're going to look at some of the other players, all the other three, Duj, Kaleta, Carr, Ake, and Stark, their stats comparison is pretty similar. Now, if you ask me, who do I prefer? I think there's a lot to say about bringing in a player that has got Premier League experience. So for that, Tarkovsky stands out. Now, of those players, who would we buy? I think we would buy, if Burnley are willing to sell. I think we would buy Tarkovsky, but Burnley aren't willing to sell. Ake, Man City have said they don't want to sell him. So if we're looking at maybe getting Ake in, it could be as a loan signing. But the other two, Duj Kaletakar and Stark, could be players that we could possibly buy. Now, Ake, 30 million pounds. If we're going to get that, I think there's a lot of reasons why we wouldn't buy this player. A lot of money. People say it's not the right time to be buying players in the January transfer window. But if there's an opportunity to bring in on loan, I think this would be a strong option to bring in on loan. Now, we've also got to consider what's happening with our players. All right, we know Ogbonna's out for the rest of the season. We do not know at this moment in time just how long Zuma is going to be out for. It could be that Zuma, if Zuma, for example, is only out for maybe, I don't know, 6 weeks. Let's say that the best case scenario, if he's only out for about 6 weeks, if he's back, the last thing you want is to buy a player who's then going to be, and then you got youngsters coming through, and all of a sudden you're suppressing your youngsters' ability to get through into the first team. So if we go out and buy a central defender in the transfer window, it kind of limits a young defender's ability to get through. Now, a lot of people say, well, we don't care. Young defenders, they're for the future, they're not for now. Let's not forget all of these players were young defenders once, and they have to have their breakthrough at some time. And if someone like Alese can sort of demonstrate that he's actually first team ready, as a fourth choice, make sure I put that in. If he's first team ready as a fourth choice, then by buying a player in the January transfer window, and say Zuma comes back sooner rather than later, it's great for competition, but is it the right thing to do? So I've got a feeling, if we can get Ake on loan, I've got a feeling it will be Ake that will probably come in. But if we are going to buy players, it could be that we go for Stark from Hertha Berlin, at the value of about £9-10 million. He's very highly regarded, German international, etc. He'd be an option and be maybe more reasonably priced. And then, as a lot of people keep talking about, we want Kaleta Carr. I don't blame them. He's a very good defender. He's played not only international football, he's played Champions League football as well, Europa League football, and so on. And the fact that he is a bit of a man mountain and can probably adapt to the English game pretty quickly, he would also be a very good option. So we've got options there. My preference, I don't have a preference. Do I want to buy a player over loaning a player? Again, I honestly don't have a preference. I know a lot of people will say just go out and buy players, but Moyes is going to do what he believes is right. He will know how long Zuma is out for, and if he knows that it's the worst case scenario, then yes, I think we will go out and buy a player because we know that we won't have Zuma back anytime soon. If he believes that Zuma will be back sooner rather than later, it will not surprise me if we get a loan signing in in this transfer window. Like, I'm not going to talk about strikers or anything like that because that'll be for another show. So let's scroll all the way up and let's see what you guys think. I want to know what you guys think. Who do you prefer out of the four choices? Let me go through them again. Which of these defenders, if you were going to go out tomorrow and buy a defender for West Ham, I want to know which one you prefer. Nathan Ake, James Tarkowski, Nicholas Stark, or Duj Kaleta Carr. But I also want to know is whether you take any of them on loan or you would prefer to actually buy them. So let me know. But and I'll get to those comments as I go through the ones near the end of the show. So good evening to you, Gary. Number one, I am. Thank you very much. Amoret. Oh, what's that? What's all that look up there? Is that because I'm late? Oh no, I'm sorry. Good evening to you. Back in 15 minutes, which means you probably got in here just in time for me starting. So you haven't missed anything. Good evening, Robert. How are you? Good evening, Black Country. I hope you're well. Hammerhead. 2 defenders now needed in January. We already needed 1. What I've just said, though, do you still think we still need 2 defenders? Would it be getting a defender in and perhaps maybe one of the youngsters coming through? Would you be happy with that? Or do you still think we need 2 defenders? Good evening, Helen. How are you? Good evening, Alfie. How are you, mate? I hope you're well. Good evening, Stuart. Evening. Is it Anton? No. Lots to discuss with West Ham family, actually, so don't kick me out about COVID. But COVID, well, we might all be shut down again by the sounds of it. Robert, he's got to change the script due to Boris's news. What happened there? I don't know. I'm not following the news. I was putting this together. Alfie, man like Bojo getting caught out. Boris, is that all about the bloody party that they had? And fucking hell, 1 rule for 1. Anyway, let's not get political. Let's scroll down. GP, Stella's a god, and Ross and cherubs. Let's not talk about COVID because at this moment in time, I don't care. Well, I do care, but GP, something going down. I dare think we are massive. You're still on that? Come on, people, come on. Let's scroll down. Let's scroll down. Scott, hello, mate. Loan deal for centre back, and we'll sign Lingard January transfer over. Do you know what, mate? I say that, and people really have a go at me about it. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's what we do in the January transfer window. If we get nothing more than that, I really wouldn't be. Good evening, Martin. You made it early tonight. I hope you're well. Countdown. I keep forgetting your name. I know it's in the back of my mind somewhere, but I keep forgetting it. So I'm going to call you Countdown. Good evening to you. I hope you're well, mate. Thank you for joining. Frano. Good evening to you as well. Helen, come on, guys. 32 watching, only 10 likes. Thank you, Helen. Got 92 watching, so I'm expecting 92 likes now, so get with it. Dax the Ripper. Oh, it's Clive. Hello, mate. I hope you're well, mate. Thank you for joining. Bernie, good evening to you as well. But Zuma has not really been ruled out yet from what I read. Exactly. He's not been ruled out. I mean, he will be out for Christmas. Unfortunately. The best case scenario, it all depends on the grade of the injury that he's got. If it's a 1 or 2, it could be like 4 weeks, 6 weeks, something like that. That's the best case scenario. If it is a tear, a level 3 tear, then it could quite possibly be that he'll be out for maybe 3 months, possibly 4. So we're kind of hoping, aren't we? Kind of hoping that it's not the worst. Good evening to you, Mark. Thank you for joining, mate. Danny, hello, mate. We need to sign Ake or Tarkowski. What about the other 2? What do you think of them? 12 thumbs up for the Godstel. Let's go down. Danny, and we are linked to Nat Phillips. I did mention him, of course. And I don't know why I'm not on to Nat Phillips as a... I think when I look at the other defenders, when I look at the other 4, for me, I think the other 4 defenders have got a lot more experience. And I think what Moyes is going to do, he's going to look at more experience over Phillips. He's got a modicum of experience, Phillips. But I think when you look at Ake and Tarkowski and Kaletakar and even Stark from the German league, when I compare those 4 to Nat Phillips, I will put Nat Phillips at the bottom of that line, to be honest with you. But, good shout, mate. We don't know. It could be. Good evening to you, Howard. I hope you're well. Hammer Mulder, how are you? Sunny and warm in LA. Hate you. Absolutely hate you. Kimbo, good evening to you and all you lovely hammers. Steve, hello, mate. Thank you for joining. Robert, would we call our players on loan back in January? Well, the players on loan, we've got 1 central defender on loan. We've got Connor Coventry on loan. We've got the 2 goalies on loan. And we've got Odebeko. So of those players on loan, it's only, damn it, damn it, his name's gone. The central defender that we bought in the last winter, the under 21. Damn it, why do I never remember any names? Old age. And he's not even making it. I think it's Sunderland he's on loan out. Even he's not making it in that first team. He wouldn't get in. If you compare the player we got on loan, damn it, why do I not remember his name? He's Norwegian. Someone's going to tell me anyway. If we compare him to Alese and Baptiste, I would have Baptiste and Alese any day over him. Alves is his name. He's not doing that well on loan, so calling him back, I don't know what that would serve. He's the only central defender that we've got out on loan. Like I said, the other players, Connor Coventry, central midfielder, even he's not doing it for Peterborough, unfortunately. Odebeko, Huddersfield, he's not doing it on loan. The only players that are doing half decent are Nathan Trotz and the other player, other goalie for playing Stevenage. They're doing there. They're playing quite a lot of games, but all our other loan players not doing much at all. So Alves over Alese or Baptiste. I'd go for Alesa or Baptiste, to be really honest with you. Iron, hello, mate. Diop wasn't bad last season, so I don't get why he's hated so much. I'm with you, Iron. I like Diop, and I think it's quite interesting. Diop did have a few mistakes in him, but and he got called out by a lot of fans far more than Dawson did, who also had quite a few mistakes in him last season, especially at the tail end. Let's not deny Dawson at the beginning of last season was great, absolutely fantastic. But Dawson was making mistakes at the tail end, but wasn't getting called out as much as Diop was when he was making mistakes a few times last season. So I'm with you. Ion again, he managed to step in when Oki was injured. I absolutely agree. Good evening, Hammerette. I think we've already said good evening, but good evening again. Neil, I said all along Diop is quality. I agree. I think Diop is time for Diop to really step up and show what he's made of. Mark, rest Diop and Diop. But we've got two Diops in the squad, Mark. Play Baptiste and Alese. That's what I'm thinking. But from what we saw in David Moyes' press conference today, he's sort of alluding to that Diop might start. I think that's quite risky. God forbid if Diop got injured in the game against Zagreb. That would be horrendous, because that means we then be down to one senior central defender. I want to see Baptiste and Alese start. I somehow think, by what is being said, that that might not be the case. I think Diop might start. That makes me kind of shudder a little bit. Bernie, agreed. Diop is a terrific player for us, and will be for France too. Has he not changed allegiances to something like Senegal or something like that? Mark, rest Diop and Dawson. I can't disagree, mate. I absolutely do agree. Fremmer, good evening to you, mate. Thank you for joining. There you go, two Diops. Graham Lindsay, hi from Alberta. Lunchtime here. I think we need to get some quality players in January, or we'll begin to slip down the table. I don't agree. Look. We need players. There's absolutely no denying it. Sometimes people think that when I say things, we may not get a lot of players and blah, 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 that people think that I'm suggesting that we're not going to get any players at all. I have absolutely no doubt whatsoever we will get reinforcements in. Now, whether we get the reinforcements that we as fans want over what David Moyes wants, it's a completely different matter. So let's talk very, very briefly about strikers. Everyone's going, we need a striker. We need a striker. We're not going to get anything. We're not going to win anything if we don't have a striker. If he brings Lingard in and says, I'm happy with that, we're going to have to just accept that. If he brings a lone defender in, like an Ake or whatever, and says that's it, we're going to have to accept that. I think people are thinking we're going to get half a new team in the January transfer window, and I just don't think it will. I just don't think it will happen. People are talking about we need 3, 4, 5 players. If we get 2, I think we will get 2. I think that might be our lot. And whether they be loan signings or a Lingard and a loan or whatever it may be, I think we might get 2. At a push, we might get 3. But I would not be surprised one bit if we only get 2 players in. If we get someone like Lingard and a central defender on loan. Zenith 2, Chelsea 2. There you go, Zenith. Well done, Zenith. Learning our way. Evening all, mate. You haven't missed anything at all, mate. I'm always late. So there you go. Pat, Good evening to you. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. David of Lazarus. Stell, make a bacon sandwich. I'm too tired. Stell, make me a bacon sandwich. I'm too tired. Yeah, I'll get right on it, mate. Yeah, you just sit there and wait for me to make you your dinner. Merrill Wells. Good evening to you. VOT.FYI. VOT for your information. What's VOT? Bernie, it's Stark or Aka or Aka for me, but I'm not sure we are this desperate yet. I think. Um, for them? Stark's a good player. Ake's a good player. I don't think that's desperation, but I don't know. I don't know. Um, or do you mean that we actually don't need anyone? Is that what you mean about us being not being desperate? I don't know, mate. Martin, Ake looks like a young Rude Hullet. He absolutely does. If he plays like a young Rude Hullet, then all the better. Um, Neil, fancy meeting you. Oh, yeah, saying hello to each other. That's great. Iron, don't bother with Ake. I reckon his height doesn't really fit how we play due to our lethal our set pieces. Also, the price is ridiculous, but the price for 30 million is about right. You know, with the number of years he's got left on his contract, etc. But it's another reason why I don't think if we do go for him, it's another reason why I don't think we'll buy him outright. We might ask for him to come in on loan. But as I've been saying for quite a while, the other problem we've got, of course, is all the players that we're looking at for all these teams: Liverpool, Origi, Nat Phillips, Man United, Lingard, Man City, Ake, etc. They're all challenging for fourth, top four. So they may not want to do us any favours at all. Um, James, hello, mate. Still, a Burnley defender is bound to have more to do. Absolutely right. Yeah, I know those stats are based on, yeah, because Burnley will be attacked more than those other teams. Hertha Berlin is something like a mid table team. Well, we know Man City, we know Marseille. Marseille aren't having a great season, but they're kind of above the mid table sort of level. But you're absolutely right. Burnley defenders will definitely have more to do. But that's why I'm quoting average per game, not, so to sort of get a balance. But you're right. They will have absolutely more to do because they are languishing at the bottom of the league. GP, hello, mate. We should try and get Oxford back. He's banging form in Germany. I rated him at the time. And it was a shame that he was let go. Just the wrong time, wrong place, whatever it may be. But yeah, he's doing quite well. Love to see him back. Very classy young central defender. Neil, I had to push it on. Yep, they're talking to each other. Pete Gads. I heard that Miles Robinson has been linked with West Ham and other Premier League and Bundesliga teams. I've not heard of him, mate. So I'll see if there's any stories about him. Zach, we needed a long-term Ogbonna replacement before the Zuma injury. That's a good point. Ogbonna will be 34 years of age. Very, very good point. So I'm suggesting that. But I think that what Moyes will want to do is Moyes will want to buy a player in the summer window rather than looking for an Ogbonna replacement, a permanent Ogbonna replacement in January, to be honest with you. But that is really a good point. Yeah, agreed. Let's go down. Whatever I said is absolutely correct. Moyes is the man. We're going to trust him. Whatever he does, whatever he decides to do, we are absolutely going to trust him. Long Dark. Stell said Masuaku has a cousin who's the I need to drink that to that. If he's as good, if he's anywhere near as good as, if Masuaku's cousin is anywhere near as good as Masuaku himself, we're done. Well, no problem at all. GP, none of them. My two, Reese Oxford or Konstantinos Mavropanos. I've not heard of him either. Konstantinos I should know who he is, but I don't. Kent, hello, mate. Ake on loan or Tarkovsky on a cheap deal for me. Yeah, I think it's. I kind of feel it's got to be one of them, but that's all dependent on whether Man City or Burnley want to do business with us. Tarkovsky to buy, Ake on loan. Neil, Tarkovsky to buy. Pat wants Kaleta Carr. Patrick wants us to buy Ake, Ion. I trust in Moyes as it really does depend on how long he reckons they will be out injured for. And I absolutely, yeah, what I said earlier, mate, I agree with that. Hammerette, ideally we need someone ready to start as soon as they are in so we don't drop down the table. Building for the future should be done in the summer window. For now, we're in urgent need of centre backs. An urgent need seems to me maybe more like a loan now so that we build absolutely right in the summertime and have more options of who we want to buy. Spencer, hello mate. Ake on loan would be good. Neil, Stark and Carr on a permanent. Yeah. But I just wonder if those two, as people have been alluding to, I wonder if those two might be players that Moyes might look at in the summer rather than now. But yeah, Fremer, as long as Masuaku keeps banging them in, we don't need defenders. Zip it, Stel, zip it. Hammer, we have to prove we're double vaccinated for large events now. What about those of us who have been treble vaccinated, boosters? You know, I want a big badge to say treble vaccinated. Let me through. Udaraja, hello mate. Can see Nathan Ake coming on loan, but we already have 2 players on loan. We do. But one of them is from abroad. So I think we're okay to bring in another loan player, but I'm sure someone's going to correct me if I'm wrong. Iron, I can see us buying Tarkovsky or Stark. Helen, are we able to play all these youngsters tomorrow? Yes, we are. Didn't we have to name a Europa League team? Yes, we did. But we also can name a backup of our under 23 players. So that's why these players are actually going out and that's why they can play. Did we have to name a Europa League team at the beginning of competition? Or is it like the Premier League where you can have as many youngsters that you want? Not as many that you want. I think it's something like 10 or 11 or something like that. But the rule is that those youngsters will have had to be with the club for a number of years, because we were going on about on Monday night. There's a lot of conversation going on about Harrison Ashby, and people were like, "Well, he's only been with us a couple of years," and people know he's been with us since he was 9. But basically, it's and I think then people thought, "Oh, it's how long you've signed your professional contract for." You have to have been with the club, I think, 2 years or more. So all the players that have gone out, all the players that are likely to be named in the squad for tomorrow night, the youngsters, are all eligible, because people were asking about Oko Flex as well. Oko Flex has only just joined us in the summer, so he wasn't eligible. Huge. Good evening to you. All we want for Christmas is a centre half, a left back, a central midfielder, and a striker. I think you're going to have a pretty bad Christmas, mate, but I hope you're well. Robert, would that include the Arsenal game now? For what? I didn't understand. So correct me if I'm double vax. Is it about being double vaxxed? Yeah, let's see. No one's ever asked us for anything. I wonder if they will start doing so. Howard, Ake loan to buy, but it won't happen. Maybe just a loan. Lingardinho, one youth breakthrough, an obscure unknown from left field. I trust the Moyes ire. Yeah, I'm going to have to look at all the left backs that we've been linked with over the past year and do a show on them. Start was really good in Iron Frano, can we see any of our young prospects stepping up? Yes, we can. I think we can. Okay, who have we got in youngsters? I did it in my show the other day. There's Harrison Ashby, a right back, Baptiste, central midfielder, central defender. Actually, you know what? Let me see if I've got the image that I can show you of the youngsters. Haven't I? There we are. These are the 5 youngsters that were left out of the under 23 squad the other day when we won 4-2 against Palace. So on your left is Harrison Ashby, a right back. Behind him is Jamal Baptiste, centre back. In the middle there is Sonny Perk, striker. To his right is Ajibola Alese, centre back, but can also play left back. And then on the far right, there is Emmanuel Longello, who's a left back. Now, can we see any of these young prospects stepping up? There is, of course, Dan Chesters, who we've seen a little bit of as well. Can any of these players step up for the rest of this season? Ashby, he played a couple of games. I think he's been in 2 appearances for West Ham senior team, but he got injured I think it was in the cup game against Hull last season, which kind of halted his progress. Now, He's a good prospect. Jamal Baptiste or Ajibola Alese. Anton thinks Alese might be the one to break through. I'm kind of beginning to incline that I'm kind of beginning to steer that way, even though I've said quite a few times that David Moyes has called on, he wants Jamal Baptiste to be part of the senior squad. So I don't know which of the two. Sonny Perkins. I think we will get a player in as a striking option, whether it be a striker or a player like Lingard in the transfer window, which might scupper Perkins's progress throughout this season. And then, of course, on the right as a left back, Longello probably is a bit of a long shot. Now there are other players, Dan Chesters, as I've already mentioned, but also Occo Flex, which who I've mentioned on a number of occasions. Armstrong Occo Flex is just having a fantastic season for the under-23s. He was called in from the. He was bought from Celtic or came in from Celtic when his contract expired, and he's another player that I think could possibly make the grade, and we might see a little bit of him in the domestic cup competitions. Well, maybe the FA Cup. Well, against Leeds, not. But if we get a lesser team like all the other Premier League teams have, then maybe in the next round of the FA Cup after we beat Leeds. So there are a few players that might be able to break through. Sorry for the long answer for the short question. Neil, Lingard will take the money and go to Newcastle. I really don't think he will. I really, honestly do not think he will. If they go down, he's going to have a tough time trying to get out of that team then. I know we can't play Occo Flex in Europe. Yep, confirm that. David, hello, mate. I think we should buy one quality centre back, leave the choice to Moyes, but maybe Stark. Remember Oggy probably in the last season anyway. Yeah, he will come back. We've already had it confirmed that he will have another a season extension. But by the end of that season, he'll be 30. He'll be 34 at the end of this season, 35 by the end of his extension. So yeah, absolutely, we should not lose sight of main targets of forward and left back. We need a left back, but we might have options with the under 23s as well. You're wasted. Why are you wasted, mate? It's early evening. Rob, evening hammers, left back and Ake, buy striker. Let's hope so. PGADS. At one point, I'm hoping that Chesters, Forsan, and Perkins are on the pitch. Forsan is not included in. He played on Monday night, on Monday during the day. I know he's not one of the players that's been left out. So we may not see him. Chesters, possibly, Perkins, but Chester's also played on Monday as well for the under-23s. Frano, I wish we would sign Kaleta Carr and maybe Savic Milenkovic. From Milenkovic, I think we can forget about, because after that, what happened over the summer and the fact that he signed an extended contract with Fiorentina, I think it's a no-no. Henry, is the Hazard rumour likely? No. If you watch my Monday night show, you know how much I ridiculed that link. 416 grand a week. There's absolutely no way that Hazard rumour is true, and also he's had a really hard time for Real Madrid. He's hardly played for them because he's been injured, and he's 30 years of age. So no, mate, it's not true. Hammer it, Helen. We can play players who have been signed with us since January before 2020 and have been listed. Yeah, you confirmed it. Thank you. Robert, I think we should buy Kral and Areola, then take players on loan. Well, Kral and Areola are from foreign teams. So I think that makes it okay for us to bring in domestic signings. Thank you, Ken. Frederick Alves, that was the one. Sophie, what is this VOHFYI? Someone, it's the second person that's, what does that mean? Rob, what about Arthur? What about him, Rob? What about him? Matthew, yes, Del, did you see Rio recently raving about Declan? Have I been? Matthew's a workmate of mine. We play five-a-side football together. Even though he's half my age, I still rung rings around him. And he's a Man United fan. So, Matthew, what have I been telling you about Declan? And all of a sudden, your biggest Man United fan, Rio, is raving about Declan. He's been telling Declan to sign for Man United for ages. And he's meant to be a bloody hammer, Rio. Let's see, you can't trust anyone. Anyway, Italy's players saying how shocked they were when Rice was subbed off in the Euro final. They were so relieved to see the back of him. What have I been telling you, Matthew? And I remember after one of our five-a-side games, mate, you said, what do people see in Declan? Oh, now you know. Now you know. Crosshammer, evening all. I was petrified losing our two main defenders, but then I thought we had Mosiah. He may make a superstar out of one of our own. Yeah, absolutely. Martin, hello mate. Tarkowski or Stark for me. Anil, everyone want. There's a lot of people that want Tarkowski in. Anil, Moyes has already been in for Tarkowski and will wait till he's a free agent, which will be in the summer. That may be a good point. So he may not bother with him. He may get a loan signing in now and go for Tarkowski in the summer. Good point, Anil. Henry, I trust Diop and Dawson. I'm confident in them. I am too. I think they played well in the Europa, as I alluded to. I think they've only had one kind of dodgy performance in the Europa League, but otherwise they've been quite a good formation. And isn't it funny? Because I think at the start of the season we were all laughing, Diop and Dawson together, and we were like, oh, no way. But now we have no choice. Hammerette, would you risk Arthur on Thursday? No, to be honest with you, seeing as how essential he's become for the first team. But no, I wouldn't risk him, to be honest with you. But he may start on Thursday. GP, I like Diop. I think Diop is a decent player, quite underrated. Jordan, Chelsea played crap against Zenit. Do we care, Jordan? Well, thank you for that. They again ain't got a problem with Diop, Rob. Absolutely. Howard, Tarkowski will be Newcastle bound for around 20 million. I read that. Apparently Newcastle are going to throw money at players. And, Tarkowski, last 6 months of his contract. And if Newcastle want to buy him for £20 million, more fool them, I say. Ake will probably end up at the tune on loan. I've not really seen the other two. Alese and Baptiste should be given an extended run, then decide. Well, it's a difficult one with our youngsters. We got a massive opportunity to play them against Zagreb on Thursday night, Alese and Baptiste. Let's see how they fare. Because Zagreb got all to play for. They for them it's not a dead game. They got. It's all to play for them. So Alese, I would like to see Alese and Baptiste, but I just wonder whether Moyes will risk that. Mark, not sure we can get Ake or Tarkowski, Stark and or Kaleta Carr with loan option to buy, or go to the Championship and grab backups in January. Use the kids if necessary. Talking about the Championship, there are quite a number of players that have been talked about. Del Fry, I think, from Middlesbrough, the young lad, Rob Dickey from QPR, Joe Worrell from Nottingham Forest. Yeah, all great prospects. And I just wonder, though, what is it we need now for the immediate? We need for the immediate experience. So that's why I'm thinking they're all likely, again, what people have been saying, maybe build in the summertime. All those players quite possibly could be maybe options in the summer. I think what Moyes is going to do is going to look for experience now. And maybe the likes of Tarkowski, Ake, Kaleta Carr or Stark. That's why I picked those four over others. I think because they have that bit more experience, I'm not so sure that Moyes will be looking at Championship players for the January transfer window. But absolutely, yes, in the summertime. Bernie, I do not mind if we buy a central defender or not. Lingard, neither German lad or City will do, but a striker would be helpful. But I can see us spending loads. You can or can't. I can't see us spending loads, to be honest. I think we'll save it for the summer and we'll patch up with loan signings. I don't mind loan signings if they can do a job. I absolutely don't mind loan signings, so that's as long as they do a job. Diop has changed to Morocco. Thank you very much. I wasn't sure. Jordan, we can get whoever we want if Moyes wants them enough. Oh, good point. Yeah. GP, Massa has changed to Greece. Who has? Masuaku. Mark, the players we have on loan are not going to break into our first team. They're not good enough for Premier League quality. Yeah, said it earlier on, and I do agree with you, mate. Funky T, hello, mate. Looking forward to see some of the academy make their debuts. More money. My money is on Baptiste starting. I think Baptiste will start. I think Perkins will start. And I'd like to see Alese start as well. But whether we use Alese as a left back or a central midfielder, I don't know yet. Good evening, Simon. Thank you for joining. Martin, nothing wrong with Ake on loan and Lingard. Nothing wrong at all, I think. I think that would be a good January transfer window. Pegads, I'm hoping for a buy-in win so West Ham can face off against Barcelona. God, there's some teams coming through, aren't there? Dennis wants Tarkowski. Finn, we need a centre-back cover and an attacking option, ideally a striker as well as a Lingard, but I think they've proven we only really need two with the versatility of some of our players. Bang on, Finn, and that's what I said earlier on. I think we probably will get two. We'll get defensive cover and we'll get attacking cover. May not necessarily be a striker. It may be a Lingard if Man United are willing to sell to us. Adam, evening to you, mate. Thank you for joining. Long Dark. No bacon sandwich. Better off asking for a croissant or a prawn sandwich. You know me well. What is this? Another one. Is this some kind of weird? Do I start deleting these people? VOGF. What is that? Is that some? Don't click on whatever that is, people. Jordan, need a player that can finish all the chances we are creating. Could be first in the league and a lone defender plus Lingard. Did you see that? I don't know if my friend Matthew's still on. Matthew, what do you think about top four? Man United going to make it, or are we going to beat you to it? Dangerous sod. Liverpool won't sell Origi. I read about that. I wanted to do a show. I just didn't have time to do it yesterday. But yeah, Origi, as much as we've been raving about him, and now it's quite interesting because Klopp kind of let his guard down a little bit and said that we changed our minds about Origi in the summer. Apparently, we were in for him. Now, no one knew that. We were in for him. No, I know there was links to him, but we didn't realise just how far down the line it was. And apparently, we pulled out of that deal. Why would we have done that? Why? Why would we have pulled out of that deal? I don't really understand. I like Origi, and now Klopp has said no chance. They've missed their chance. West Ham United. I'm not going to sell Origi in that, even though Klopp after the post-match interview said, "Oh, one day he'll have a manager that will play him more." And then only yesterday he turned around and said, "Oh, I won't sell to Origi because we're going to lose players in the AFCON if it goes ahead, and I'm not letting Origi go." So why did we turn that opportunity down? I'm not sure. Not sure. Funky T, the transfer window is another 3 weeks away. We may have some players back by the end of that window. Well, we know that Creswell's on his way back. That's for absolute certainty. And if any of you watch my show on Monday night, you know I talked about the options that we can have at starting back. I've kind of said that, let's get rid of that comment. I did kind of say then on Monday night that I think our first choice centre backs are no doubt going to be Dawson and Diop. But those three players on the side can also play centre back as well. We can use Declan, as we saw at the tail end of the game against Chelsea. We can use Kral, who's played centre back as well as holding midfielder. But Cressey's back as well. And as we know, Moyes in the past has often used Cresswell as the left-sided centre back of a three. So there's that opportunity, So not all doom and gloom, He can do that. He can put Kral at the back. I don't know which way round. Maybe in the centre, maybe on the right hand side. He can put Declan there as well. So as it stands right now, even if we don't get any other players in, Moyes has got options. He can utilise his squad in different ways if he really, really needs to. Hammerette. We're only able to get a loan if we make our Areola. Now, look, I'm not sure that's right. Areola and Kral have come from foreign teams, which my understanding means that we should be able to get a loan signing in from the Premier League. Because if you remember last season, Fulham had about 7 loan signings in. So we haven't got. I'm trying to wrap my brain through the whole squad. Areola is from PSG, that's his home club. Kral is from Spartak Moscow. We don't have any loan signings in the current squad from the English leagues, from the Premier League. I'll stand corrected though if I'm wrong. Jordan, Moyes is a brilliant manager, but was an idiot not to get at least a striker on loan. Terrible decision. Well, we've still got time, and we're still fourth in the league. Dennis, would Burnley sell Tarkowski? This is the big question, mate. Will they sell Tarkowski? I don't know. They're languishing at the bottom of the league. They've said they don't want to sell any of their defenders because they're struggling down there. They're third from bottom. So will they get a defender? Will they let a defender go? A tall order for them. Frano, defender on loan or with an option to buy and a striker on a permanent basis. Well, let's see. Mark, Burnley won't sell Tarkowski to West Ham as they're struggling with relegation. Tarkowski's contract's up this summer, but can't see them getting rid of him in January. He's key for them. Absolutely. Jordan, we desperately need a striker, defender and Lingard. Buy Lingard. I don't mean if the others are on loan. Well, we may just be happy with just Lingard and no striker. James, please Santa still. I want all my Christmas presents at once. 6 new signings and an end of the season relegation battle. You want an end of the season relegation battle? Wow, I got to scroll down because we're almost going to get to the 9 o'clock show. Kaiser, evening to you, mate. Thank you for joining. I've scrolled down. Do forgive me if I don't um, put all the comments in because there's quite a lot of them. Ethan Coletta Carr, long-term player next to Zuma when he's fit, when he's back and fit. Paul Evans, Tarkowski didn't want to come before. Can't see them selling him now. Well, it's not that Tarkowski didn't. There is talk about Tarkowski's wife doesn't want to live in the south, and she prefers to live up north. Which I think maybe if he goes anywhere, he's likely to go to Newcastle. Mark, hope Kral is playing tomorrow night. I think Moyes kind of said quite clearly that Kral will play tomorrow, and Vlasic will play as well. So we will see a couple of the fringe players. Ken, mate, what did we both keep saying? Feed and he will score. You know, we need a striker. So I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll let the striker go that's now top striker in the Champions League, smashing it, and we'll let him go. But look, in Moyes we trust. In Moyes we trust. Dangerous sod. I'd sign Tyrone Mings. They won't. Aston Villa won't let him go. Hammer, I do wonder if Kral has a clause to buy him if we use him. He has got a clause to buy him, but as Moyes said in his press conference, he said about the whole thing with Kral and COVID. Kral had bad COVID, and that's why he's slow to come back. He's really made it clear that he values Kral and he values Vlasic as well. I think he also said we're going to see a lot more of him. He kind of alluded to that. So I think all this thing about, we're not playing Kral because, we don't want to buy him outright, etc., etc. I don't think that's the point. I think Moyes has been, Moyes eases players in, but I think he probably would have used Kral more if he didn't catch bad COVID. So yeah, and we do have there is a clause if he makes a certain number of appearances, then we buy him outright. I like Kral. I think he's the sort of player that we do need on a permanent basis, and why not? Jordan, Kepa actually did okay, to be honest. Chelsea defence was shocking. This ain't a Chelsea show, so we won't talk about them. Paul, looking forward to seeing the young players. Hope they take their chance. Could be awesome. I absolutely agree. I'm scrolling down, people, so do forgive me. Good evening to you, Aidan. Thank you for joining. Jordan, Lingard doesn't need more money. He'd be sitting on his ass for years. Time he wakes up and enjoys the last few years of his career, which will be at West Ham. Hammer it. Oh, crap, that's true. Dawson won't be in the game tomorrow as he's picked up a small knock. Should be okay for the league game. Good. I'm glad. I hope all our players pick up small enough knocks not to be in the game tomorrow, but to be ready for Sunday. Is it Sunday? Yes, against Burnley. Dennis, will Salid be unhappy with Lingy coming in? With Benrahma, I think Benrahma will be a little bit unhappy because a lot of people will say he'll be the one that will drop out of the team. But it's a squad rotation. If Lingard comes in, I see Moyes rotating the squad a lot more. So I think Benrahma will actually get game time. And I think, there'll be that opportunity. If Lingard came in, there'll be that opportunity to put Bowen up top, give Antonio a rest every now and again, and then have 3 attacking midfielders. No reason why, Benrahma and Lingard can't be in the same lineup with Bowen up front. No reason at all. Let's scroll down. Funky T, 7th of December 2014. We were 3rd in the league. We've always been massive. Let's hope we do better than we did at the end of that season. Let's scroll down even more. Peter, I'm feeling really confident for this season, even with our injuries, as we have a few utility players and the kids coming through. And it's exactly the way a team should be. We should be in a position where people aren't crapping themselves. Right, I'm going to get rid of all these people. What is that? What is that, Pete? Well, I know you're a regular, so what is VOHFYI? I'm missing something clearly. And this is what I think, Peter. I think we're confident. That's the way a team should be run. So if we do lose players, we should be able to turn around and say we've got enough depth in our squad. We've got some youngsters that are just breaking through, which could do a job. That is the sign of a well-run team, and I think we're very, very close to that. I'm not saying that we shouldn't bring any players in the January window, but I think we're very close to that. Picard, I don't know if Man U will sell Lingard to West Ham as they are massive, and the same. Who's massive? We're massive, and same Tarkowski. Yes, we've covered that absolutely. Daniela, I think the way we are playing gives players confidence. I absolutely agree. Let's scroll down. John Osborne, hello mate. Tarkowski is a Moyes type of signing, 100%, 300 plus games in the English football and cheap in January. And that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking now for the immediate, we'll talk about, players in the championship, young players coming through, etc. We know what Moyes is like. He's going to want absolute 100% players who have got a lot of experience that are going to get us through the next 6 months of this season, which is why I think it's going to be a more senior player than anyone with all the youngsters, all the prospects, etc. will come in summer. Crosshammer, we have to convince Tarky's wife that he cheated on her, so she kicks him. Let's scroll down. Good evening, Neil. Evening all from South Australia, 6:20 a.m. Have you just woken up, mate? Probably not. You've been up for hours, haven't you? Been listening but watching Zenit, which ended up 3-3. Peter, how's your mate Frank Skinner doing these days? Hello, David. How's your mate Frank Skinner? Mate, it's not the first time I've heard that. Oops, what happened there? Mandy. Klopp forgot about AFCON losing Mane and Salah. Yeah, and then he remembered, and that's why he said Origi's not going anywhere. Ion, it's set in stone. We're taking down Dortmund in the semis, and then Mr. West Ham will score a bicycle winner against Barca in the final. Wow. Chris Biggs, good evening to you, Stel. Good evening, mate. Missing the start of your new show. Mate, if you know me, you would have known I was always going to be late. I've only been on an hour, to be honest with you, so you haven't missed much. Mark, is it a bit early talking about top four yet, as it's a long way to the end of the season? No, why not? Why? I'd say talk about it. Absolutely. Steve, we can see Baptiste and Perkins. I can see Baptiste and Perkins starting. I can indeed. Mandy, Souček could play centre back. Souček can. Kral can. I think it'd be more Kral that might, be interesting where Kral will start tomorrow. Father Snowman, Stella, Origi was injured at the end of the season, maybe injury prone. I looked at it. No, he's not that bad. He's not one of these consistent injury prone players. So maybe that's what scuppered the actual transfer, though. Good point. Hammer's dad, Origi was a big miss, nearly over the line. Wonder who's responsible for that. Don't know. It's interesting, though. Interesting that we apparently pulled out of that deal. Kent, we can bring 2 domestic loans, I believe. I thought so, because let's not forget the loan signings we got are from foreign clubs. So I agree with you. I know we can bring more domestic loans in. Mark, Moyes might go back to playing wing backs and Creswell going back to a centre 3. Absolutely. Steve, Antonio could play centre half. He's played everywhere. He actually, you know what? Good point. John, Creswell not trained since injury, will not play. He has been playing. Apparently, he's been training this week, but I don't expect him to start tomorrow. Absolutely no way. Jammy Packs, hello mate, how you doing? I'm very well. What's your ideal window in January? Well, here's my point yet again. Our ideal window as fans compared to what Moyes' ideal window is probably very, very different. My ideal window would be a striker, attacking midfielder, and a defender. That's my ideal window. For Moyes, he'd probably go defender, Lingard, and that'll be it. Creswell back for Burnley. That's what we believe. Dangerous sod. Premier meeting on the 14th of December to block Newcastle transfers. Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard about that. Spencer, how much were Liverpool asking for Origi? I don't know, because it was a surprise to me that Klopp even let it slip that we were in for him and pulled out of the deal. But as someone alluded to, if he was injured at the end of the season, that might have scuppered the deal. But Origi, 15 mil, 20 mil top whack, not bad for a player who's still only 26 years of age. Ken, Diop is looking to play for Morocco. Thank you very much. We covered that earlier. Thank you, mate. We haven't done too bad since Allaire left. No, we haven't. But I keep saying, Ken, what do you think of this, mate? If we kept Allaire, we'd be playing in Champions League now, not Europa League. But hey, let's not be greedy. Frano, Hozek is coming on loan, guys. I can see it. Might do, but I'm not so sure. We go back to this whole thing about senior players, players with a lot of experience. I can see Klozek coming in summer. don't necessarily expect him to come in the January transfer window. Mark, I don't see Liverpool selling Origi to us. Let's be frank. Well, apparently we were going to buy him in the summer, but I agree now. And as Klopp himself alluded to, too late. Um, Peter. Grant Holt has re-registered as a player to play up front. Funky T. I read Crowd is struggling to meet the fitness level of other players in training, hence why he hasn't started and comes on from the bench. That may be because of the COVID issue, mate. Rhonda and Tony, I haven't seen you for a while. I hope you're well. I find blocking of transfers from Newcastle very hypocritical, as City owners are just as bad, if no worse. That's a really, really good point. Yeah. I've got to scroll down because I've got to let you go because you've got to get ready for the 9 o'clock show. I agree with you. Haller's a class player. I agree with me. Haller's a class player. But, you know, what Moyes doesn't see, we're going to have to be happy with. Hammerette, Origi would be my first choice. Proven and ready to start scoring. As you said, though, can't see Liverpool helping us. Mark, Lingard is starting today against Young. Is he? Oh, interesting. Okay. Peter, don't know what it means. Just join. Okay, thank you. Lingard watch, so he's starting, is he? Wow, wow. Hammerette, I'm still positive about our succession this season. We have this way of pulling together and covering the missing players' positions like a real unit. Totally agree. David, hello, mate. The club needs to spend heavily and loan even more in January. I think you're going to be disappointed too. The club, you know, what is this thing about the club needs to spend heavily? I kind of said this on several shows in the past. If we buy a player for 10 million that could do a job of a 30 million pound player, but just because our 10 million pound player, you know, comes from a lower league or a mid-table team or whatever, isn't that enough? Bowen, 19 million. Socek, 19 million. 2.4 million Dawson. You know, we don't have to spend big to get great. You know, Moyes knows how to utilize these players. Lingard starting tonight. That is going to be very interesting. Patrick, that means Ranić is giving him a chance. Patrick, Ajax and West Ham are playing totally different football. Haller fits their system. I do agree with that. But there was no reason why. But maybe that's one thing with Moyes sometimes. You know the strengths of Haller. Play to his strengths. See what he can do. You know, and we might have had. You know, people talk about us not having an option B. Wasn't Haller an option B? Wouldn't it have been an option B for us? You know, can't have it both ways. Steve, whoever starts tomorrow will give a good account of themselves. I'm sure of it. Absolutely agree. Dennis, stay safe, everyone. Will be a tough month with COVID. Yeah, worried about that as well, mate. Pete Gads, Ainsley Maitland Niles, I hear he wants out. Talked about him about 4 or 5 weeks ago in my Monday show, mate. He can play wing back, holding midfield, etc. But yeah, I don't think Arsenal, another team, probably won't sell to us. I would like us to go for Payet. He's been informed in France. There you go. Payet, Allaire, you know. Jordan, currently sitting on the top of the table to Jeff Hurst as we speak. Currently sitting on the top. Oh, yes, you're going to the night out. Mate, have a great time, mate, and fantastic. Peter, I see we're pulled out of next winter's Olympics, but still going to the World Cup. Well, what's all that about? Yeah, the World Cup. Just, yeah. Who just ran to the loo? Did Jeff Hurst just run to the loo? Got a boot sign. Fantastic, Jordan. Well done, mate. Right, let's finish here. I don't know what this VOT is, but it's pissing me right off. So I'm going to block that user. Whoever you are, mate. Sorry, you're gone. Manure 1-0. Who scored? Anyway, let's go there. Thank you all for watching. As usual, 9 o'clock. Anton is doing the preview. I think it's probably with Matt usually with him, and we're probably going to get an opposition fan in as well to talk about the game between West Ham United and Zagreb. Join in for that. It's in 50 minutes time. Thank you all for watching. Much appreciated. Love all the chat. I really appreciate you all getting involved. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow probably. Well, see you later on. You won't see me, but you'll see Anton and Matt, the substitutes, later on. Have a good night.